combination. Sivir's the big one that sticks out to me. So is Attila and Jactroll, are they going to prioritize taking the Sivir Yumi combination away or grabbing the Xayah Rakan that have been potentially unlocked because Draven is banned?
What is the option going to be? The Nautilus still up and available, though. Of course, did get some nerfs on that Q damage, so the burst at least a little bit lowered here. A lot of solid engage follow-up options now paired with the Sivir as well. Sivir Nautilus, I know, one of your favorite bot lane pairings in recent solo queue weeks. But what is the Yumi going to get paired with on the side of SK Gaming? What will Crownshot's next choice be? The Xayah, of course, available back in the day when he was first coming to the league. Those were the champions that he was known for. His 3-item carries like the Xayah, as well as his Ezreal.
Xayah, I think this combination is bird cat.
Bird cat.
Cat bird?
Cat bird. Bird feeder. Depending on how well or poorly it goes.
The combination is what's cool about Nautilus Sivir versus Yumi Xayah is, of course, Nautilus can use his shield, can absorb a lot of that poke. In tandem with Sivir's spell shield, it's hard for Yumi to make that damage stick. But as they start pushing forward, that's where Crownshot on the Xayah can actually be quite threatening. Her ability to create zone and to use the root, if you will, or I guess it's a snare, when she pulls her feathers back and really punish Nautilus and Sivir if they do decide to be aggressive and be super forward in that lane.
And really, I just love Yumi anytime a champion has either built-in CC or self-peel tools. Ezreal, one of my favorite pairings, now the Xayah as well. We'll need to wait for level 6, so see how risky this bottom lane is. If Attention wants to go to the bottom lane, that was the big mix-up for us yesterday in the Vitality series, was the bot lane being the focus, the bot lane being where so many advantages were generated. But you can see Mowgli's champion pool going to be limited here. So many target bans in this draft, both the Elise and the Olaf off the board. And
then you expect that coming out of this red side ban phase that it's probably going to be a jungle snap pick, things like Jarvan and Rek'Sai still up and available, maybe even the Lee Sin, depending on how man mode Selfmade wants to go.
Absolutely, and Selfmade, of course, notoriously dominant if he is able to find early leads, so Lee Sin would not surprise me. Anyone else may not see it, but the Skarner is what he played yesterday, so the Skarner is what's going to get banned. Gragas, a champion that's been getting picked a lot recently, and there is now a duo that may appear in this draft that I'll hold my horses, but you know what I'm talking about, Froskurinn.
You're talking about that Yasuo.
I'm talking about the Yasuo Gragas. The rumored terrifying duo would be incredibly AD heavy, however, so may not see it here. But the Jarvan will now be locked in for Mowgli, sets him up to make some early plays.
And you have to feel like it might be one of those duo combinations. Gragas has great gank presence, especially between levels 2, 3, and 4. And the fact that you had the option to take a Jarvan is such a great champion into Sivir because he just lands on top of her. She doesn't have any sort of dash like an Ezreal, like a Xayah to disengage from that. So they must have something in store for this 2v2 with this Gragas.
Find out what the options are going to be, and the Sylas will be the final lock-in. The potential to flex both of those champions between lanes to find an optimal matchup. SK may need to respond with a flex pick of their own. Kennen now will be the lock-in. Denied the Hasakitty. Oh well. Sacre getting the Kennen on the top side, of course, known for proficiency in ranged champions from what we've seen so far. Seems to be holding true as well. But going up against Cabochard, he said, I'm going to play a more supportive role for the team this time around. See what that means, what a more supportive Kennen top looks like?
I think his plans kind of went to the side. Yes, he is on the Kennen, and we expect him to be a team-fighting-oriented Kennen, but there was a lot of attention kind of leveraged towards Sacre. The fact that it was a priority pick of a flex pick that he's so potent and powerful in that top side, as well as denying him his Nico. He is the big Nico player for the team.
Will be good. Of course, ultimately the defining factor in the game yesterday. Maybe we'll get those opportunities once again. And I love both these compositions for Froskurinn for a number of reasons. But my favorite thing in the game, League of Legends, is hard CC. The one thing you cannot buy in the shop, and it always leads to explosive games when teams are willing to take those risks. And here in the LEC, teams are always willing to take those risks, go toe-to-toe, fight for what they think is theirs. See, crowd ready. Berlin hyped, I'm hyped.
And we're going to decide who is actually going to be in the conversation for playoffs right now. It's still only week 3. There is a long ways out, but SK Vitality, who is actually on the rise, who is actually middle of the pack in the LEC.
Time to find out. As you said, rise and recover. 2 different stories for these teams. Who will make playoffs? Who will get something done in this matchup? All right, Berlin LEC fans, let's get it kicked off. Final games of week 3, starting with this one, Vitality versus SK, and already you're gonna see some cheeky level 1s getting busted out. I don't want to say it too loud, don't want to spoil it for our friends on stage. But Sacre, he finds out Jiizuke, ooh, fishing over the wall with the abduct. Will, however, not find a Yordle to kidnap, and we'll have to walk away. The team to retreat, do get a bit of vision down, but now the opportunity to respond on the bottom side is coming through for SK, dropping wards in the enemy jungle.
Do want to point out the keystone choice from Cabochard right here. He went for the Electrocute on the Aatrox as opposed to the Conqueror. Now, it isn't super uncommon. Sometimes you do see Aatrox opt for this, but obviously front-loading a bit of his burst damage as opposed to prolonged, extended trades, dealing with the fact that you are in a melee matchup. But this also means that if Mowgli gives Cabo the time of day, the ability to pop this Kennen in a immediate gank, flag and drag, knock up a couple of combos is significantly higher.
And Froskurinn, something interesting is happening on the opposite side of the top lane too, because it is the press the attack. Normally we see maybe Kleptomancy, a more defensive rune choice might be the Airy, something along those lines. But Sacre, he's going for those early trades. He says, you want to extend, let's extend some trades. Let's get a little bit more damage down. And I'm going to ask the dumb question, because I feel like someone's got to do it, and that's, is on-hit Kennen coming back, Froskurinn? Is this it? Is this that AD Kennen that like only like 2 people in the world could play and everyone else just kind of botched whenever they tried to make it happen?
I mean, I think it would certainly fit with Sacre's type of playstyle, just to echo what Ender said on the analyst desk. He certainly has a reputation of being a more carry-oriented top laner, but I still feel that like team fight Kennen's the way to go. We'll, of course, keep our eyes on that one. I do like press the attack Kennen, though. I know that Ender has been clamoring for something other than Klepto up there.
Maybe just we'll be setting him up for early lane phase success. Check in, of course, how that works out for him later in the game. Early laning keystone is obviously very crucial, but Kennen late game, he's an ult. So whether it's an Airy or a Klepto, won't ultimately matter too much. A little bit more damage or a little bit more gold in the lane phase. For now, he is able to bully out, force Cabo into the tower, get that first level 2, and get a bit of lane pressure. We
do need to talk about the vertical jungling that's happened here. Mowgli with the classic went from his blue buff all the way, excuse me, his red buff all the way into Selfmade's blue buff. Is now looking for a gank on mid lane. Splits the map, sets up gank.
Ooh, flag and drag, immediate flash out from Pirean. Mowgli not going to even try to use the flash to extend there, knows that he will not go into the tower. But
the unfortunate thing for Selfmade is that because Jiizuke actually has priority in the mid lane, and then they also have this great ward that has spotted out Selfmade and set up a potential counter gank, he's probably going to get 3-buffed if this doesn't work out.
Stepping forward, Mowgli is here, the double buffs are there, but instantly the burst is coming out, Jiizuke just dies! Mowgli! They thought, oh, you're not stuck in here with me, folks. Oh, man. And he dances on him!
Spoiler alert, it worked out for him. Now, Selfmade is walking down to his bottom side. Oh no, don't TP!
Oh, what? Is he, what? Yo, that was brave. Okay.
Ooh, okay, if he had timed the stun a little bit differently, that could have been a very different story. Bold move.
Absolutely bold move. That is the kind of the start to the day that I would like to see. Now, I'm going to be honest. I feel like Vitality had the right idea here, but SK just kind of...
I mean, you say that, but this was SK's plan from the very beginning. Again, they had the option that they could have taken the Jarvan. Jarvan works great against Vitality's composition because it has a Sivir, but they picked the Gragas, knowing that Gragas is so obnoxious when he ganks on the 2v2 mid-jungle matchups. Gragas Irelia is so potent and powerful, you never win that skirmish.
Special and double melee. We do see Crownshot take the bad end of a trade, will pull the feathers back and bounce it out at least a little bit. Selfmade here as well. Body slam in, but no flash this time. And Froskurinn, you say that, and I respect the SK draft, but they had perfect information on Vitality's side, and they went in anyway. Late to the play. Now, however, on the bottom side, things are getting a little bit rougher for Crownshot and Dreams. Attila and Jactroll piloting the spot lane quite well, not falling behind in the early game whatsoever, and Selfmade suddenly a lot more confident in this jungle.
Should be noted, though, that Mowgli did get the 3-buff off, taking both blue buffs as well as his red, so it's a small win for Mowgli, but it is one into his camp. But otherwise, Selfmade has been so aggressive, so much pressure exerted, especially over this mid lane. It feels like the game plan for SK is shut down Jiizuke.
Definitely fair when you look at their game yesterday. Was not the most active member in the early game, but when it came to those late game team fights, stealing 2, 3 ults across level 16 Sylas, absolutely terrifying if he has a few items under his belt. They want to limit some of that. But of course, still only 5 minutes into the game, a 300, 400 gold lead. That's just the first blood, splitting up both of these teams. Yeah, very even across the board.
Nice thing is that Jiizuke retained his flash despite going down to the first blood, so it is harder to just follow up and try to punish that repeatedly. I expect that as these waves get neutralized, maybe they look mid again, but Jiizuke should just burn his flash, shouldn't die in the immediate, I'm gonna say 7 minutes.
All right, 12 minutes, 30 seconds, folks. Mark it. If he dies exactly at that point, Froskurinn's a profit.
I'm just saying the idea of kind of like the different rotations that you would gank. You'd have to gank it, burn his flash, gank it again. The time that you take to clear camps in between, that would be kind of the window that if he dies, probably around then.
Yeah, makes sense. For now, has a bit of an XP advantage, however. Now going to be bounced out shortly. Pirean is working towards that level 6. Cabo with level 6 on the top side. Kennen getting a little bit of damage down here. Not seeing too much effectiveness from pressing the attack quite yet. Of course, Aatrox notoriously difficult to bully out of lane. A lot of sustained, just innate in that champion's kit.
Do you want to point out some of the pings? Mowgli is on the bottom side of the map, but Selfmade actually just pinged on the way towards Vitality's red side. You can see it's about to spawn, so both junglers are playing this side. I'll hold it. Here's maybe gank number 1. That would be the flash if he gets it.
Not going to happen in the end, but Mowgli, flash, flag, and drag. Different mix-up on the combo. Dream's not getting pulled back, but there it is. The nurse to Yumui. Oh! Mid-flight goes down. Cat's out of the bag, cat's out of the lane, folks. Dreams dying right there. Brutal.
And teams so much more likely to give away the Yumui with confidence after those nerfs came through. You can see how obnoxious Nautilus can be against that champion. And now Jactroll going for a little bit of a walk.
And he's got the freedom to do so. Can't sneak around the Scuttle Crab, so won't even try. But this is the power of the Nautilus in the early game. And despite the nerfs, you know, this was a champion that was pretty much pick or ban worthy in the first few weeks.
This is something interesting. Attila opted into the BF sword first, as opposed to going for Essence Reaver. Obviously, the Essence Reaver is Caulfield's hammer, as well as the pickaxe, so it doesn't have the BF in its ingredient anymore. So looks like he's actually rushing for that Infinity Edge, or maybe he does the traditional route, grabs the 2 pieces of AD, and then goes for attack speed.
Interesting here. The flash, flag, and drag, looking for the double hit. Oh, it's brutal because as the Yumui player, having been this Yumui player, for like a half a second you think you made it out because you pushed your W, but no, that auto attack follows you. You don't get to pop projectiles that easy. Ooh, Mowgli going into the jungle, however.
He's got priority and control over the minion wave bot lane.
Good spot to be.
Part of the aspect of going the BF sword first means that she gets that much wave clear that much sooner on in her build path, as opposed to needing both Caulfield's hammer and probably the pickaxe to just single-handedly clear those waves.
Clean it up. I'm interested to see where this build takes him, if we ever see an Essence Reaver. That was a ward dying. This is the first time you saw that? Is that you're really excited about that?
Someone in the audience hates wards.
They ruin all of my ganks!
Jungle main.
Jungle main for sure. Yeah, well, sweepers are doing some work in this game, folks, so you can be excited about more awards to come. However, for now, it is a bit of a slower early game. And that always raises the question. On the opposite side, we have the Caulfields for Crownshot you mentioned. I feel like Essence Reaver every time, but I do want to see where these first items go because, yes! Never mind. I was going to say, that is a Vamp Scepter for Kennen, and that very much looked to me for a brief moment in my mind like you're going to have 80 Kennen back, Froskurinn.
You are so excited.
But it's a Gunblade. It could be a Gunblade, so we're not going to know.
Gunblade.
Have to hold off. Mowgli will not hold off. We'll start up the Infernal Drake.
This is a great maneuver from SK here. Again, the fact that it's, Vitality.
Yeah.
I'm so used to SK winning, Vitality losing. It was just autopilot.
Oh my gosh, you're merciless. Oh, will just get that flag and drag out immediately. Jactroll, though, may have bit off more than he could do. Level 6, now trying to body block, though. Needs to get in front of him or he's going to hook out to safety.
No
Spider
flash.
Not going to be enough.
By the skin of his teeth. You can see his summoner spell, his flash, just about to come up right there.
Honestly, though, when you look at both these compositions, I'm going to say worth. Every single champion on this team, except for Nautilus, wants that Infernal Drake. So as long as they don't, you know, give up too much, they've only evened out the gold, so decent position overall. Maybe didn't need to give his life, but good that Mowgli got the Infernal.
Yeah, and for all the attack that Selfmade made in kind of the early 5 minutes, it feels like it's really been him playing the back foot now. Vitality and Mowgli in particular, playing around the priority that his bot lane has given him, invading blue, getting information on Selfmade, using this information to find back timers to create a window to take an Infernal uncontested like that.
Solid overall use of lane pressure. And I feel like just in general, since that one game yesterday, right? So recent, but Vitality does feel like they've been cleaning up a lot of their early game play, a lot more controlled, a lot less, you know, high risk, kind of low reward moments that we saw from them in the first few weeks. It does feel like maybe things are starting to shift. As you mentioned, recovery, the story for this team.
Attila is just loading in his flat AD. He now has the pickaxe, 2 long swords, and a BF sword.
Hard clearing the wave. Did he just minion demat that? Man, that is commitment. Attila is ready to clear some waves. I feel like Essence Reaver, though, is still with the cooldown reduction and the mana return.
I mean, he's got the components for it. He can now pivot at this point in his build and still look for the Essence Reaver.
I guess he just wanted us, you know, had enough money for BF Sword. Why not buy it, right? Give you a hugely strong early back. See if it pays off for him. Of course, you can see a more back foot approach here from Crownshot on the opposite side.
So there should be a shift in priority. It was Jiizuke was starting to shove in Pirean. Now that the Tiamat has been completed for the Irelia, since she has the 2 kills, you can see that Pirean and Selfmade have priority. They're starting to make the roams. Mid lane, or bot lane.
Forcing it out, ult traded for ult. There's actually 2 ults there coming through in the end. Attila holding on to his, but difficult spot to be in for sure. The Xayah ult traded for the Nautilus ult should happen every single fight, otherwise it's just not going to have a way to avoid it.
Still feels like the real killer will be if Mowgli ever tag teams with this bot lane again.
We found the opportunity. Sacre locked up. Oh, we talked about this bot lane potentially being a weak point. Sacre's had some monster performances thus far, but Cabochard, when he's on point, is terrifying. CS nearly even in this lane. Kennen will not be taken out, but getting the ult uncontested here, basically for free. Cabo is going to step forward. Does he think he's in the bush? Close situation there, but will maybe be able to walk it off. Sacre with the TP. I feel like Mowgli's just fishing around on the top side, but here comes the Predator into the mid lane. Selfmade will not find anything, but I love that both teams are fishing for these opportunities.
But it feels like Vitality still have so much tempo advantage right now. Multiple of their lanes are just kind of organically winning. Top lane dive.
Aatrox ult now coming out, the TP coming in as well. So if he gets the kill, he'll get the kill reset. Mowgli needs to make it up to safety, dropping the aggro. Pirean flashing forward, he's gonna get 1. Now looking to turn on the Cabochard, but so much healing comes in from this Aatrox. You have to be careful. The TP now responded with, coming back through. Cabo going to back off here, seeing the ult is falling off. Jiizuke is there with the stolen Gragas ult. Selfmade potentially on the way up. The play will stop in its tracks. In the end, just going to be the 1-for-1.
Sacre is still very heavily punished, however, because that is a big wave, as well as the turret plates now going into Cabo's hands. You can see that the matchup is starting to get a bit perilous for Kennen here.
Coming through, and Vitality once again making a clean play on the top side, not punished for it, not overextending like we saw in those early LEC games from Mowgli. Of course, the TP is spent by Pirean to make sure they can make it a 1-for-1, but in the end, it does still feel like Vitality came out on top. That, of course, may change here. But now with Pirean caught out as well. Looks gonna come through. Selfmade here too. Could look for the disengage. The stolen ulti already used. Pirean now moving forward. That's a lot of damage from the Azir. Pirean desperately wants his kill. Cabo is just gonna look to take him down. Pirean's still alive. The shutdown is there. Selfmade running for the hills, and Attila will TP in just in time to take that one away.
Just absolutely destroyed by Vitality up there in the top lane, and now they also get access because they were first on the rotation to also swap their bot lane to the top side. It felt like after the infernal Drake went down that SK should have pulled the trigger much faster on swapping their bot side up into the top side of the map. They're behind the play here, and it's punishing them.
And honestly, in that single game, it now feels like Vitality are back on course, that this is the team that we saw when they were winning games. Dominant, aggressive early games, making these crazy plays, committing all of their resources. When they go in, they go all in, and we can see it one more time here.
Some of the surprise burst damage as we start from the very top of this play. The initial dive, it's going to be multiple teleports that come in as Pirean picks up 1-for-1 trade, but again, Sacre loses so much.
Ooh. And when you look at the back and forth exchange here, they pull back, they look for it. I wonder if we'll get the full replay. Yeah, you can see the transition out here. But the damage here on 8, they try to interrupt, but you can't interrupt the third Q. The Darkened Blade on the Aatrox is just so much damage. And of course, for Attila, who TP's in, once he has that, he's just going to walk him down. Easy kill pickups, and now pretty sizable gold advantage. We went from a dead even game just 3 minutes ago to now a 3K gold lead in favor of Vitality 14 minutes in.
And as 14 minutes ticks over, we've now dropped the plates. I believe that the Rift Herald, while we were in that replay, went down and chunked out huge plates on this mid lane tower. Thank you, observers, for showcasing that. So Vitality really are finding their snowball in this. You can see the completed Infinity Edge now looking for the Essence Reaver of Sivir. Cabo pushing down 2 towers now.
Breaking this one down, extending the gold lead to 4K. But knows he's caught between a rock and a hard place. For this case, the fat cat coming through. See what he can get done. Cabochard now set to fall. Does not have the luxury of the free reset and will be shut down. But meanwhile, in the mid lane, Vitality breaking a tower in response.
They expend so much to pick him up. It is a nice shutdown bonus, however. Maybe they get some waves back, and maybe they're able to hold the position here. But Vitality have now cracked open this map and can really start looking for these hard engages, especially because Attila is so close to 2 items. They have a Nautilus, they have a Sivir. On an open map like this with mid tower being down, it's that much more room to run for Vitality's composition.
A difficult spot now to be in if you're on the side of SK. It is, in fact, the AD Kennen coming through. Not a champion that wants to be behind in any case. Needs a lead. Nice sidestep on Crownshot, though. He just looked death in the face and said, come at me.
I thought for sure he was dead. I was like, ah, man, that's a bad place to be, buddy.
That was so casual.
If you know he's going to miss, take the shot.
Just keep walking. Well, on Jactroll, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You're embarrassed for the ones that you miss, though, for sure. 10 plates taken, though. You can see 1440 gold earned. 1 plate taken, 0 gold earned. Massive difference here in the relative early games. 4K lead for Vitality. I don't think what we were expecting whatsoever coming in. You heard it from the desk. Vitality, not talked about at all in PGL. Not even on the radar. SK are the expected playoffs team, but Vitality changing the narrative here and now by just crushing in this early game.
And it just looks so much cleaner. The communication, the synergy, all of the wheels for Vitality, specifically their bot lane. I know it's really easy to look at their scoreline, but they're playing the pressure correctly. They're not overextending when need to be. They're looking for their correct openings. This is a completely different Vitality, particularly from Jactroll and Attila.
Absolutely.
They hate blue buffs. They hate wards.
It's difficult.
I think they cheered when the dragon went down.
They just like action, you know what I mean? They don't discriminate. They're not worried about it. You want to kill a champion? Good on you. You want to kill a blue buff? We're about that. They're torn, you know?
Fair.
Understandable. Froskurinn, so AD Kennen is a thing. It's happening. It's not as exciting as I thought it would be because usually, you know. You
should be excited. You got your Blade of the Rune King. You got your Press the Attack. You got your on-hit Kennen.
Yeah, but the thing is while I wanted to see on-hit Kennen, I want to see on-hit Kennen dominating because when it falls behind, it's not very good. And now I'm wondering, and luckily I have an expert here to tell me, what do SK do in this situation? How do they come back? What is the actual avenue for them to come back in this game, given that most every one of their lanes are actually behind individually?
Well, it looks like Fat Cat is setting up a gank here, and I think that's what SK need to do. They need to slow down the game, funnel the gold into the appropriate resources, particularly the Irelia and the Xayah. Sorry, Kennen. I don't think it really matters for you at this point. Maybe it gets a little bit better. Spoiler, it doesn't.
Nope. One little Yordle on the bottom side. Of course, AP Kennen has the threat of the ult there. AD Kennen, the ult is not nearly as threatening, but still not going to see the dive come out. Not perfect information here for the side of Vitality, but I like that Dreams has given up on pairing with his AD carry up until this exact moment. Ooh, Jiizuke.
I think it's the right course to do for Yumi. I feel like so many Yumi players in the LEC just, they won't let go of the ADC. They continue to babysit them when Yumi can be so much more successful when she's paired with bruisers.
Yeah. You're not going to get empty nest syndrome, folks. Just let them go. They're going to do their own thing. They're going to learn their own lessons. Oh, Jiizuke going forward, but Selfmade is here. The instantaneous flash out. I like the aggressive play, but not going to get much there. Now 18 minutes. Mowgli going over the wall. Sacre is going to be in trouble, flashing back. Ultimate, of course, still up and available. And Vitality going to break this bottom lane tier 2. They saw the resources committed top to stop Jiizuke. They knew they could go in.
From bad to worse here for SK Gaming. They're just never on the right side of the map. The plays that they are committing to, it's not sticking for them onto the scoreboard. They expend so many resources, it maybe equates to a flash burn. But meanwhile, Vitality are taking down actual tangible structures, getting more gold in the bank.
It's a game of just continuous incremental advantages. It feels like, yeah, SK are always trading something, but it's just never as good. And now we're at a point where massive lead. If we were 25 minutes of the game, I'd say surefire Baron for Vitality, but we're only 19 minutes in. I
mean, that feels like the game plan right there. The fact that Attila just walked over to the Baron pit and just dropped down the control ward, he makes it very clear. X marks the spot.
This is mine.
This is where we're going to go.
Jiizuke will clear out a little bit of the vision as well. And just across the board, Vitality in an excellent situation at the moment. You have Death Dance, first item for Cabo, on the way to the Black Cleaver. A lot of CDR there, 30%. Very early into the game, as well as second item coming in for Attila. He got so much of that tower gold, and now that flat damage is just, it's going to rip through the back line.
And maybe you go back to the drawing board and you say, did we take a risk leaving open the Aatrox? Yeah, it has been nerfed on 9-12, and it feels real bad right now that they got the last pick. They picked this matchup. They thought it was going to work for them, and Cabo has been unleashed on them in one of these side lanes.
And for Sacre at this point, just picking up farm where he can. Not sure what to expect from him in terms of actual impact at this stage of the game. AP Kennen, you can always rely on that ult, but AD Kennen, we'll see. Healing reduction maybe will help him out in the 1v1 matchup, but team fights outside of that Kennen ulti surely in favor of the Aatrox. Boomerang blade taking a decent chunk out of Selfmade's health bar. He will heal right back up, though.
It's just so much easier for team fights to be executed by Vitality at this point in the game because you're not dealing with an AP Kennen. Kennen's going to need a lot more room to run to start cycling through these auto attacks and kind of whittle down opponents as opposed to upfronting with a lot of that burst damage.
Just truly a difficult situation for SK to find themselves in. Luckily for them, the vision mine isn't too deep from Vitality. As of now, a lot of their vision is focused around the Baron Pit, only that single ward on red buff to get information. So SK are reasonably comfortable right now, moving through their own territory.
No, they realize they're out of time. You see all of those assist me pings dropping down onto Baron. The reason why the game state went to a lull is because we went for the reset from Team Vitality. They've now made all their backs. We're sitting on 2.5 items for virtually everyone across the board. Vitality now just need to reset the map, and then we're going to start setting up for what their play is going to be, whether that's making a pick off into a side lane or looking for deep vision into the enemy jungle or setting up for Baron.
Or in this case, taking a dragon
It's
completely
free.
and totally uncontested. And what you'll notice is they drop basically 0 vision for this one. Keeping those wards in their inventory ready, eyes on the prize. It is not the dragon, it is the next objective, whether that's the topside tier 2s or if it's going to be the Baron. Mowgli now in the enemy jungle, fishing, looking for these opportunities. Crownshot has to be careful. He does not. He has the flash. That will luckily get him. He can't be touched. he's just no hook can hit this man.
I mean, Dreams plays a lot of Nautilus, so maybe he just knows the matchup
That's
that
how they
intimately.
practice all day and all night. You will dodge these hooks, Crownshot. Given how many times he got caught out last split, it would make sense. But obviously a much better split for Crownshot this time around. Has to be careful about walking, though, next to that tower. Pinning himself against the wall there. Now hiding behind it. I like this. Interesting approach when dealing with the Nautilus.
It's because the Nautilus obviously connects onto terrain, so anytime you're against the Nautilus, just hide behind structures. Hide behind the mid lane tower. It makes it that much harder for him to connect to Q and dive you.
Yeah, significantly less terrifying. Jactroll, though.
Still scary.
Still scary.
He could just ult you.
They're all picking different bushes to hide in. There are so many wrong choices for SK
This
right
is
now.
the worst game of whack-a-mole.
Oof.
They're buying time for Jiizuke, because meanwhile, while all this is happening, Sylas is about to hit that bottom inhib tower. No, he's walking over. They're going to dive. Look at the pings.
Selfmade's so incredibly low, and he just used the Predator. Ward is there, though, as pointed out by the observers. Well done. He is now spotted on the flank. Could have been disastrous. Remember, the amount of ults that Jiizuke has access to that are so incredibly powerful are just, it's monumental.
This tells you everything about the mindset from Vitality. The fact that Jiizuke could have crashed the wave into the tower and gotten some hits chipping away at the bottom inhib tower, but instead the ping comes from Vitality to dive. Like, if he wasn't spotted out by that ward, Vitality are looking to fight.
Absolutely. And of course, in the individual 1v1, he does have the item advantage over Irelia, but sustained fights, if he can't find the burst, will still be difficult. Kingslayer, a very good tool, but Conqueror, the keystone on the opposite side, will make things harder. Also, get your LEC team pass, guys. Do it. Right now, available on the client. We're setting up for a big fight. You've got a minute and 30 seconds.
Just tab,
Tab.
open up the client.
Do it. There it is for you. All right. Bottom side, I like that Pirean is fishing here, but I don't think he's going to get anything done by himself. But he does. Walk over, sneaks, brings a cat. Nerf cat now coming out, trying to find the CC. Jiizuke dodging out to safety, but is it going to be enough? Uses the Gragas ult, tries to pull away. Ooh, may not be enough. Jiizuke running for his life, flashes over the wall, tries to get tricky, but it's not going to be there in the end. The dash forward, the shutdown, and that's why we call it Nerf cat.
Also got the flash out of Jiizuke there. Did manage to get over a thick wall. That is hard. Credit to Jiizuke, but fortunately for him, it was a 2v1 scenario. Nerf cat drove him into the ground.
Good spot. SK just buying themselves time. Once again, they're in such a huge deficit. The little advantages like this, things that delay the Baron from going down, are so huge for this team.
Yeah, grabbing shutdowns into Aurelia's pocket of all champions. Again, that's where they need to funnel their gold.
No.
But here's the trap.
Death Brush.
He's out.
Not going to happen.
Eventually, they're going to get impatient, and by they, I mean Vitality.
Jactroll was intimidated. He saw Crownshot there. He's like, I can't hit that guy.
This is the thing about Vitality as a team. I feel like they know what the right play is, and sometimes they have that patience. Sometimes they look very disciplined. But if there's ever going to be a team that's just going to get a little bit antsy, that their skin's going to crawl a little bit when the plays aren't connecting and just try to hard force something, it's Vitality. I just feel it. I feel like there hasn't been enough bloodshed.
What were you saying? Something about just hard forcing a play right over the wall. Surprise Crownshot, dodge that. Says Jactroll, goes in, goes down. That's going to be clean from Vitality. A surprise, Jiizuke makes his appearance known, but the pick might just be enough to get this Baron kicked off for Vitality.
And the thing is they're not punished for using Jiizuke's TP there because they still have another one onto Cabochard, so they can immediately now use Jiizuke to zone off the Baron, great control wards on the back half of the pit, and then just try to zone Selfmade away.
Ooh, Selfmade knocked back. 5K getting lower. Might just come down to the smite fight. 11k health. Pirean may try to buy time to get Selfmade into the pit. 3k, getting lower. There's the Irelia all coming in. Freeze frame. Gotta hold our thoughts for a moment as we move forward. The cat getting a lot of healing down. The goes golden Selfmade in the midst of everybody. Sacre on the backside trying to buy a bit more time, and the entire team is getting routed. They do not have the tools to go toe-to-toe with Vitality, and things are going from bad to worse. Yes, they stopped the Baron, but that's so much more cool.
But that actually means a lot. The fact that Sacre and Dreams were able to plant their feet to actually stop that Baron going down. We got to see some of the cool interactions of having an on-hit Kennen in the duration of stun of his ultimate. He's able to actually get off 3 auto attacks and get his press the attack.
Ooh, and here, I like the initial setup, immediately deleting the AD carry, the confidence to turn. Jiizuke comes over the wall, sadly a little too late to get anything done, but from here, Vitality just going for a big play.
And now here's the one that stops the Baron. Baron does probably more damage to Vitality than SK actually do in this team fight. Attila is untouched for a very long time. Look, still full health and just pushing in every single auto attack. It's only until someone respawns next to him that he's actually hit.
And let's be real, that is a 3.5 item Sivir. You know, 309 CS for 25 minutes, 26 minutes now into the game. You can't ignore that champion. That you can forget maybe about the Jarvan or the Jactroll Nautilus after he's used his skills, but you can't ever really forget about the Sivir. That champion has to die if you want to come out on top.
And going for the rapid fire cannon as opposed to something like the Phantom Dancer doesn't need the lifeline passive, just needs the extra range, because again for Sivir, it's just about getting that one bounce of W in him.
Absolutely. And just poking. Rapid fire cannon can be so oppressive in these, especially in siege situations where you have 2 short-range AD carries.
So I think a big issue here is that a lot of key flashes are down, namely on Pirean and Sacre for SK Gaming. Selfmade also doesn't help, whereas Vitality have a very strong Sivir, and she still has access to her flash, and no one can really get into that backline. So if we come into another fight where the line of scrimmage is set, Vitality will just win.
Selfmade now knows something's up, knows the Baron is being taken, his
Deep
TP
teleport.
coming down. Are they going to be able to get it? 4K, trying to buy a bit more time with the final chapter here. 3K and dropping Selfmade. Is he going to go over the wall? The control ward is there. Is now doomed to get knocked out, trying to knock the team out of the pick. Pirean immediately in the midst of the team. Eyes on Attila, though. He's doing so much damage, and he's uncontested. Exhaust will go down. Selfmade getting picked off on the backside. Pirean needs to go in. Are they just going to try to finish it? They desperately want to get it, but Selfmade is down. Can they get it? Will they get taken away in the end? Yes, they do, but they pay the greatest price they can. The Ace for Vitality, the Baron for SK. I'm going to say not worth.
And the minion waves are also set up for Vitality. They immediately walk to the mid lane, say, that's fine, you can have the Baron, this will only slow us down a little bit. They are now knocking on SK's door.
Oh, they're going to get at least 1 inhibitor. They'll break the top lane tier 2 as well, and they are poised now to end the game. Look at those death timers, at least 25 seconds across the board. They're going to have 2 of their weaker members coming in. That's Selfmade and Sacre to try to defend this base, but the Kennen already used the ultimate. The Gragas is not a big enough threat. 1 inhibitor at least now will fall in favor of Vitality.
I mean, the reality is I can understand why SK go for that play. You know, it almost worked out for them. The execution wasn't there, the gold difference wasn't there, but they had to stop the Baron. If they lose it there, they lose the game anyway.
We take a look at this one in the Alienware replay, how SK tried to find their way into the pit. The TP from the Irelia on the backside of that fight.
And it feels bad just to start, just because Yumi's ultimate doesn't connect with anything. Selfmade tries to get to the pit. Cabochard actually denies him, but it's Pirean and Crownshot that really saved the day initially here. Just deleting a lot of Vitality still left into the pit, but Jiizuke, Cabo, they walk from the back of the pit all the way around the pit to the front of it, and Attila is still untouched.
And once a team fight starts going in the favor of Vitality, it's going to keep going in the favor of Vitality, because you have an Aatrox. And the new ult, yes, you do not get a guaranteed revive, but once you get the ball rolling, it is so oppressive. Jiizuke can steal multiple ults, and you have a Sivir for sustained damage. So I feel like if SK make a single mistake, they just instantly lose the fight guaranteed.
I will say this, though, that people like Irelia and Xayah actually get to play the game a bit more now, because they've completed about 3 items. Irelia for about kind of 2.5. She's got a couple of pieces of resistances, but she is hitting quite hard. So yes, they lost their mid inhib. Yes, they managed to get the Baron, but then got aced. But they've actually stalled at the game long enough that they do have a chance, depending on how the next 1 to 2 fights goes. If they win, then they can get fully back into this game. If they lose once, it's over.
Will this be the final fight? The siege is now starting up. Rapid fire cannon auto is going to be coming in every so often. Will allow Attila to at least free hit every once in a while to keep the siege going. But now the fight is getting kicked off. Immediately knocked back. Crownshot has forced to use the ultimate. Jungler locked up. Mowgli going to take a lot of damage. Pirean now throwing the ult up, but it goes wide. That cannot afford to miss that. Now Cabochard is the miss of everyone. If he gets the reset here on the kill, oh, goes gold. This is the perfect setup that the team needs to stop this. Will they find the re-engage? Selfmade goes in 2. Jiizuke missing the ultimate there. Sacre off to the side. Jiizuke locked up into the tower. Goes golden 2, so many combos is now being used. That's one down. Crownshot is alive. SK are turning the fight. There's Pirean going over Attila. Doesn't really want the 1v1. Can he get it? Tyrian doing so much damage. Attila now running for his life. Where's the spell shield? The healing now coming in. Is it going to be enough? No! Irelia takes him down. A triple for Crownshot in the back half. And SK hold on.
They stalled out long enough. Yes, you lost your mid inhib, but you got the power exactly where you needed to. Vitality do need to start respecting SK. That was the first fight. If SK can win the next one, then this game can very easily be theirs.
Oh, and you see the start off, it's so important here that Cabochard does not get this reset. The revive there would have been disastrous. The entire team, the coordination on this punish is so good, and Vitality were just not ready for that re-engage.
Yeah, SK Gaming have surprisingly sometimes really high moments of team fighting. Sometimes it does kind of turn into a bit of a cluster. It gets a bit messy, but I look at some of the key individual players and just think about the ceiling that this team has as a potential to be a team fight team. Some of their coordination in like split-second moments is quite scrappy and quite creative.
And honestly, just a highlight fight in that situation where they were at such a deficit. The goal is a lot closer now. No longer is it a discussion of, hey, Vitality are just going to roll over. It is going to be more difficult. It's still an AD Kennen, still not the strongest champion for scaling to the late game. And that was still a 6v5 in the sense that the SK Tower did a lot of work.
So Sacre's responsibility as the AD Kennen isn't just about playing a side lane now, and as the AP Kennen, it's not about getting into the middle of a team and doing a bunch of damage. It's actually about zone control. When you have a champion like Xayah and now the AD on-hit Kennen, obviously if he stuns up multiple people with his ultimate, that's great, but he also is creating a very safe zone for Crownshot to just continue to dish out all of this damage. And when you pair that with the likes of Gragas and Yumui, it's actually really difficult to attack this Xayah.
And that's going to make it incredibly difficult, I feel like, for the side of Vitality, because it's hard to also to ignore the Irelia in these circumstances, in these fights, because you've seen how strong Pirean can be and how, especially with the random ones now too, he's a huge threat to Attila.
Yeah, and the cool thing is because it's something like an Irelia, you see these types of compositions run all the time in the LPL, where you can give so many resources to the AD carry. Yumi's on the ADC, Gragas can push people away, Kennen just stands next to her and says, come at her, I dare you. Pirean doesn't need any of that. Yeah, Yumi can tag along with her if he wants, but because he's so self-sufficient, he can get in and out of these fights, Irelia can do whatever he wants.
And that's really the nightmare scenario.
I think it's really cool.
I like it, as someone who plays Irelia on occasion, poorly. But I feel like for Attila, it's incredibly frustrating, because it's not like Jactroll is the king of peel supports at this point. This is not a Tom Kench. That was banned, that was taken away from him. His engage is fantastic, but really has to focus and stand right next to Attila if he wants to stop anything from happening there.
I feel like this is a war of cooldowns. Like, do SK burn all of their disengage cooldowns or their zoning cooldowns before the fight is over? Because if Vitality can outlast that and then eventually get on top of Xayah, who now also has a GA, and kill her, then I think it's just over and won. But if they're able to slow down team fights, SK Gaming, if they can slow down, control the team fight, layer differently when they're using the cask to blow Vitality back, when they're creating space with the Kennen, when they're sending the Irelia in, then I think they can win the team fights at this point.
There's so many ways for Vitality to burn some of these major cooldowns without starting a fight.
This flank is really important.
It's going to be important. Attila doing so much damage now, cutting through. Pirean may try to find his way to the backside. Attila now exhausted. Crownshot on the retreat. Pirean in the midst of everyone, but Sacre right into the back line. AD Kennen or not, he's doing some good damage onto the team. Pirean, though, will get resurrected. Attila is still alive. Crownshot, though, moving in for the contest. Wants to get a bit of damage in, but Cabochard is there with the knockup. Crownshot will be forced out. Dreams needs to find a new host to move into. Pirean laying down a little bit of damage. Attila running for his life. SK slowly but surely are winning this fight. This is exactly what you were talking about, Froskurinn. It's going long enough, but Cabo, maybe too much.
They just left him!
Do they want to push for anything more? They have to be so incredibly careful here. The Darkened Blade does an immense amount of damage. Sacre now stepping forward, looking for the CC, looking for the follow-up. Are they going to be able to get it? Dreams now in trouble. Cabochard taken down, and SK win yet another fight.
But do they win in the long term, though? That's the big thing. So many important cooldowns were actually burned in that fight, namely the Guardian Angel away from Xayah. So this flank is so important because, again, Vitality need to figure out how are we actually going to solve this team fight and get on top of Crownshot. They try to do that, the flank doesn't work out. Mowgli can't connect with his flag and drag, he can't get to the back. But they actually leave Crownshot with Cabochard for so long that he just lands on top of his Xayah repeatedly while they get, I think, distracted with Attila and Jiizuke. Look at this. He respawns, Selfmade tries to go into it, and Cabo just, okay, party.
And I mean, something that we talked about was how important it is to kill this Sivir, but you don't always just get to run straight into the back line and find that fight. And Attila backing off, knowing his top laner to get some work done there. And See it here, of course. Aatrox still very threatening, but good on Dreams to make it out of that one. However, SK, they want another fight. They say, give us round 2. We'll kick it off. Baron has now been started. TP is now coming in. Jiizuke has already stolen the Kennen all once, sleep right in the midst of everything. Crownshot throwing out so much damage. They're all grouped up for the Xayah. Is it going to be enough, though? The Sivir now coming in to turn. Jiizuke finding the stolen ultimate. Crownshot is still alive, but it will not be enough. Point and click him down. Attila will find the kill. The double for Cabochard. Now the Baron for Vitality or the base.
And how much did it actually mean in the long run? The fact is they burned all of their big cooldowns. It wasn't the perfect team fight that SK Gaming needed to swing themselves back into it. And Vitality take the next team fight with more cooldowns and are now again marching and knocking down SK's base. I think they can end it.
And no matter how you build your Kennen, Sylas is getting an AP Kennen all, taking it away, turning the fight in an instant. Have to give some praise to Jiizuke. Attila left standing. Vitality winning against Excel may not have meant much to this team, but winning here against SK is a reminder to what they have been and to what they could be. Vitality will find their second win of the split.
It was a lot in the skirmishes, a lot in the pit, a lot of scrappy fighting. That's exactly what Vitality want to do. They picked their team fights better. They maintained more tempo over the map at critical moments and were able to drive it home.
And it's crazy because anytime someone says a team is a momentum-based team, it feels like such a meme to me. But Vitality, once they start winning, they keep winning Froskurinn.
It looks like new life has certainly been breathed back into Attila, of all people. Excellent Selfmade right there. Really liked his itemization during the lane phase to make sure that they had control over the wave. Mowgli is giving more attention and more time of day towards the bot side of the map. It's no longer just top side focus. This Vitality squad looks refreshed.
Absolutely does. Good to see after a few hard weeks at the start of the split. And see what their ceiling is. How high can they go? Do they reach their former heights? Who is going to be the next team to stop them in their tracks, or will there even be one? Probably too soon to have to say that with that much confidence, but for now, a good day and a good week for Vitality. From 0-4 to 2-4, starting to turn things around.
They needed this one. They needed the 2-0 week.
And it's tough, you know, at the end of the split, health problems coming through for Jiizuke. It was tough to have faith in Vitality, but now here, glimmer of hope to get things started. Yamato keeping it casual.
You know it's serious when Yamato's shirt comes off.
Ooh, the Vitality shirt. Giving up the floral print. All right, or the print of some kind. We're going to look at 2 key team fights, though, from the view of Attila, his pro view. We love it. Let's see exactly how this went down.
Okay, so it looks like this is the initial big Baron fight that Pirean walks around. Now, Vitality will win this fight in the very end as soon as Jiizuke and Cabochard walk from around the back of the pit. But you can see Attila doing what he knows he needs to do. Waits for his tank line to get back in front of him. He is a very powerful Sivir at this point and walks back up and finishes the fight.
And this is kind of, I think, him reaping the rewards for an early game well played, is that a lot of these fights in the later game, he has such a strong front line that he doesn't need to be quite as scared. And flash forward there, finish it all off. A lot of damage comes in from the Xayah. But end of the day, some clean plays from Attila, some clean plays for Vitality. 29.9k damage. Absolute monster this game.
It doesn't look flashy, but it definitely feels satisfying as a Sivir player myself.
I mean, it's good. And once again, the early game, the mid game, that's the hard point. When you get 3 items, that's Sivir Town. You get to celebrate. You get to have a good time. And I mean, Frontline is there to back them up. Just honestly, well played across the board from the team. But teams are great. Individual players are often more important. And in that case, it's going to be key player of the game time. At lolesports on Twitter is the place. Cabochard, Mowgli, Attila. Those are your options. Froskurinn, what are you thinking? What are you feeling?
I feel like it's between Cabo or Attila, I think, at different points in the game that they kind of took over. I'd say Cabo just because he was the one who was left alone with Crownshot and in that kind of defining team fight right before Vitality took the game-winning team fight. It was him who killed the GA on the Xayah.
But he was left alone because they were running face first
after
into Attila trying to kill him. Well, regardless, a good week for Vitality as a whole. And for more on Vitality's 2-0 week, here's Lore with their bot laner.
Thank you, Drakos, and thank you, Attila, for joining me. Congrats on the victory. You guys look way more synchronized today than everything we've been used to seeing from you so far. So was anything different today?
Not really. We just got really tired of people saying that we were really bad at the game. So we just said, hey, we might as well just win some games, you know?
You know what? Let's take a few minutes. Just look at the camera right there and say what you want to say to the fans.
I mean,
Now
not
it's
really,
time.
you know, like to the fans that actually supported us throughout the 0-4, it was pretty much the worst start of the split that we got. Like, thank you very much. And all others that really doubted this roster, come on. Like, come on. We already had bad starts, like on spring split, like we were 7-1, we were first place as rookies. Then we went down, then summer split, in the end, like we went down, you know. This time, we just go down in the start and then we're rising up, so it's better like this.
Rising up again, and we can hope for a brighter day for you guys. Although, looking at the game, everything was so controlled and going well up until the point you reached in hip turrets. So, what was going on there? Because you had the edge composition-wise, so why were you rushing into things?
It was kind of like a vitality special, like just losing a couple fights, you know, like randomly when you're really ahead, but we just misplayed mechanically, I'd say. Like we had like a couple mistakes that end up like us losing 2 fights, I believe, or something like this. But it was nothing to worry about. Like we were really ahead. We just needed to fight as a unit, and we did it, and it just got crushed. So.
And that was a great game for you guys. Now, 2-0 week, and you beat SK, who looked really good up until then. So can we hope for better days for Vitality from now on? Are you back on tracks, guys?
I mean, this week it wasn't the hardest. Like, let's be realistic, right? Excel are probably the worst team at the moment. SK, they're decent, but they're not top of the table. So next week, I believe we face Misfits Fnatic. That week, it's going to be way harder than this one. If we go 2-0 again, then yeah, we're back on it.
Do you have any idea on your prep for the next week?
I believe next week is Rift Rivals. We're gonna
sorry.
we're gonna play a couple weeks later, but like we're just gonna keep doing the same, remove the mistakes that we usually do, don't do the vitality special, get ahead, and then just die randomly all over the place, and then I think we're good to go.
Well, I wish you good luck on that, and I hope I will see you more for winner interviews after your victory. So thank you very much for joining me, and we're gonna take a short break, and when we come back, Misfits will take on Schalke 04. Stay tuned, guys.